Presented by AfterBuzz TV and hosted by Hall of Fame superstar Sean X-Pac Waltman, this is X-Pac 12360. And now your host, WWE Hall of Fame superstar Sean X-Pac Waltman.
Hey everybody, welcome to X-Pac 12360. Keep missing shows.
I know we've missed quite a few. I think the last few weeks.
I went years. I went like 2-3 years without missing a show.
That's
and then,
true.
Like in the last, I don't know how many months, I've missed several. So sorry for everyone that's used to being able to rely on a show every week. So
I think we ruined a few people's commutes.
Yeah, I just want it was kind of, I don't like putting show, I don't like, hey, let's have a show in the can in case, I don't like I like having the shows be fresh.
Yeah, totally.
Like once I make a show, I want that shit out the same day, and then it's out there and then that's it. Got to do another one. It's just, it's nothing wrong with that. It's actually smart to have shit in the can to use for weeks like that or like last. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. Just me babbling. How you guys doing?
Good. I think we're glad to be back.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I was just in the Bahamas for a wedding and it was nice. It was nice. I just laid around on the beach the whole time.
Awesome.
People, when they go on these type of vacations, it's like, oh, we got to go on this excursion. Get up, hurry. We got to be here. Like, fuck that.
Right.
Like, I go there to relax, not, be fucking, like, worried about being on somebody else's schedule for something. So,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, and again, like, nothing wrong with it. People want to do that. That's not me.
You're not up for the activities?
Fuck no.
Who was getting married?
My girlfriend's a friend of hers.
Oh, cool.
That she knows from. She works with this group called the Unusual Suspects. I ever tell you about that?
No, I haven't heard about it.
It's like they help. They put on like productions, like plays, and they go into like underserved communities and like even into like juvenile detention halls and work with kids, and they. At the end of it, there's a big play, and like everyone comes and it's great.
Oh wow, that's awesome! Nice.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see see these parents. All these parents so proud of their kids, and how, even the kids. Just to see them get up there and overcome like a lot of things like shyness or just shit like that.
Yeah, of course.
I think you mentioned on one of our past shows that you did something with them along the lines of that as well.
Yeah. So anyway, she knows it from there. And, I'm not real big on destination wedding, but like it was so nice and relaxing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What else? Fuck, I don't know. Yeah, but I watched SmackDown while I was there because, my NXT people were,
of course,
were there. I was real proud of everybody.
Yeah,
real happy for everyone.
Yeah,
stepped up to the plate and swing and everyone got on base.
Yeah.
Everyone, kind of knocked it out of the park a little bit actually, if I want to be honest about things. And the people were into it, and then so I was watching a little bit last night, so I have Hulu plus live TV now, instead of Sling. But here's the problem with that: Sling, man, it was just one problem after another with them. But the problem with Hulu is the feed is the East Coast, like I can't watch it live. I can't watch Raw live. I have to watch it.
You still get this time zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Twitter and seeing everything I missed.
That's always the worst. I hate not watching something live. Like I'm in that zone now where before this was so used to, I would always watch, the West Coast feed. But now I feel like I have FOMO when I'm seeing everything happen on Twitter and, you can't be part of that.
Yeah. So, and I read a couple people's comments on Twitter. Oh, this isn't getting over like it did last week. And I'm like, oh, that
For Raw?
sucks. Yeah, it's like, it's just not, you know. And then I actually went and watched a bit of it once it finally came on here in our market.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, the crowd is fucking dead. It's almost like a fucking Nassau Coliseum crowd. And then I looked up, see where they were. Nassau Coliseum.
No, the crowd was dead pretty
They
much the
always
entire
fucking
show.
dead in the Nassau Coliseum. Trust me, for years. All the venues in the New York City market, the Meadowlands, just fine. The Garden can be hard sometimes. But still, they're with it, man, and they bring it. The fucking Nassau Coliseum, I don't know what the fuck is up with that crowd. Forever, man. I don't know if they're too cool for school. They don't want to, you know, react to things. I just don't know. But it's always been like that, always. And I mean, obviously, you know, the reactions picked up a bit when. You know, there are people that everyone's really used to seeing the real big stars. But, like, you know, for instance, what was it? Who's the guy, the Mexican guy, real good-looking kid?
Humberto Carrillo?
Yeah, who was he working with?
The Street Profits.
Yeah, him and the Profits against AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah, and so, like, the crowd not being into it, that, like, affected my viewing pleasure.
Right.
You know?
That's how I felt for the Cedric Alexander Buddy Murphy match. That was when I really noticed it. But the thing that the reasoning why I thought that the crowd was not really all there for that was because I felt that they were expecting a show more similar to SmackDown, and it was different with Raw today. You know, they had, you know, some moments with NXT, but I think they were expecting more of the takeover like they had with SmackDown. So I thought maybe that was part of the reason,
I mean,
but
that could
I
be
don't
part
really
of it
know.
too.
Yeah.
That could be part of it too, but on top of that, it had to be a Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah, right.
There was a few pops, obviously, when Triple H came out and they had the NXT chants, but other than that, there was nothing else that was really sold. Like, even the Brock Lesnar stuff, I thought was really good at the top of the show, but it wasn't as well received in terms of, like, there was some crazy one-liners that Paul Heyman had on the show, you know, with the King, and then when he called the roster the B word, and all of that. So there were some moments there that you would expect some larger pops that maybe weren't received.
Yeah,
and I think I don't know. I think there's a million different reasons, but part of it I think is as far as the NXT stuff. I think to a certain degree, like that's already, it's already kind of, you know, now that we've seen it on SmackDown, I think some of that freshness may have been lost a little bit. Now people might have been expecting it, whereas on Friday,
it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. Like on Friday, no one really kind of knew what to expect, but yeah.
How did you feel about the ending to SmackDown? When Triple H basically sort of used the...
Oh, yeah, the promo,
right,
you know,
right.
Hey, call your friend, call your blood.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, that kind of stuff is, it's kind of neat, you know, and the people all knew exactly what that was. And so, yeah, you know, I mean, obviously... Yeah.
I thought it was nice because I just saw it as like an evolution, you know, where you go back and you think about it, and we had just talked about it recently on the show. So you sort of just see that evolution from, you know, that moment to, you know, now where he's leading, you know, NXT, and it really feels like, you know, this is one of the things that I like.
It was that kind of a moment for him.
Right, exactly.
And so that's why he said that, because it meant that to him. And so like that was the coolest part about that. Like is, you know, he connected it to that, and so yeah, you know, fucking. What am I supposed to say? You know.
Well, I just figured he'd be watching, and be like, yeah, you know, like it's a nice moment.
Yeah, but I don't like to be like, oh, see that part right there? That's about me, or that's, you know, just
Well, a lot of people were doing it for you online, I think.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. What are we doing today?
All right, well, today we're so we're going back and we're talking about your time. We're talking about your time both in UWF and the Best of the Super Juniors.
And so we got to clarify, because there was a couple UWFs at the time.
UWFI, which was the Shoot Style promotion, or
there was UWFI hadn't come into existence yet. It was, well, actually they might have. Oh fuck, actually they did. But it was UWF was the original, like, Tiger Mask group that when Tiger Mask left New Japan, you know the history of that at all?
Roughly.
Okay. And so there, and so this guy, his name is Hisashi Shinma. He was in this past year's Hall of Fame. He was inducted into the Legacy, you know, all those inductions they throw in. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So he was inducted into that, and he's a big part of New Japan over the years, and a kind of a business partner type with Inoki. But he broke up and he started this UWF with Tiger Mask with Sayama. And, you know, they brought a more realistic style, and Carl Gotch was there and teaching all those guys. And, you know, everybody that came and wrestled there was supposed to have, you know, a legit background of some kind. But although some guys did go, like, I think even Dutch Mantel, like, I'm really getting off into the weeds here, everyone. But, anyways, I won't go into that. Anyways, so it had a pretty good amount of popularity, but it still died off, and then later again, you know, the UWF reformed with Akira Maeda. Do you know about him?
Right.
And then he started
Yes.
rings later on. But Akira Maeda is a guy that he was a frustrated New Japan heavyweight. And a lot of guys felt like they were being held back by, you know, the Inokis and the Choshus and guys like that. And, I don't know how much that had to do with him doing this, but Maeda, like, he blindsided Choshu with a kick when Choshu had, like, the scorpion on somebody and, like, crushed his orbital bone and shit like that. Anyways, and then left, and they restarted UWF. God, why am I telling this part of the story? So there's that UWF. All that to say, there's that UWF that was submission style. And then, so Shinma, the old man I was telling you about, no disrespect, but he's an older gentleman. This UWF I'm talking about was actually more commonly known as Universal Pro.
Right. That's what when I was listening to you and Fumi talk about it, I was a little confused on that as to why you guys were referring to it as Universal Pro. So
the UWF name was used, I'm assuming, because it was still the Shinmas. It was the son of Hisashi Shinma. His name is Hisatsune. And he was just like really big time, like nice guy, but such a mark. And huge mark for Lucha. Huge mark. So that's where all this came from. Hamada was the original main Japanese star, El Gran Hamada.
Well, because it was also referred to as Gran Hamada's UWF, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean that's, and it's where Ultimo Dragon gained his initial popularity as just without the mask as Yoshihiro Asai.
Right. I was going to say that there was, you know, essentially one of the first Lucha Style promotions in Japan that featured Dr. Wagner Jr., Silver King, El Tejano, Los Villanos, and then they had the up-and-coming talent like Ultimo Dragon, Gedo, Taka Michinoku, and so on. So it was pretty interesting to see, like, you know, all these people that would eventually, you know. Yeah,
so, like, their younger Japanese talent that they eventually, you know, they left in Michinoku Pro and this, that, and the other company. But, you know, so the young Japanese guys were, like you were saying, as Gedo and Jado. They were called, what the hell were they? Bulldog KT. Anyways, they had these weird names and these mullet mohawks. And, you know, they were huge, like, American wrestling fan. Like, Gedo is big time American wrestling fan. But anyways, so those guys, Masa Michinoku, who is Great Sasuke without the mask, and bless his heart, like if you ever seen him without the mask, you'll know why he wears one now.
How sad, I don't know if to laugh or not.
He knows.
That's sad.
I don't think he looks in the mirror and goes, "Damn, you're a handsome looking motherfucker."
That's sad. So yeah, so you can
also, sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it's fine.
Monkey Magic Wakita, who later became Super Delphin. And he wasn't wrestling yet when I was there, but he was a young boy, and it was Shinzaki, who was a Hakushi. Mm-hmm. And even some other, Men's Teo, I don't know, a lot of guys.
Right.
Oh, yeah, Dick Togo, my first match ever. Anyways, keep going.
So, basically with this promotion, this helped lead, open the doors for, what would become later on, like Dragon Gate, for example. Toryumon as well. So it's very interesting to sort of see how, basically you had all of these guys under this one roof, and then everybody made a name for themselves, whether it be in Japan, Mexico, or the US. But I know we sort of talked about this in past shows, but just for the sakes of this show, how you got brought onto this, and your first tour, because how many tours did you do in general?
Oh my God, quite a few actually.
Okay.
It seemed like about once a month I was going over there.
Okay, and you were the first one, I think you were 19, correct?
Yeah.
You were still a GWF for the first one.
I was still the GWF light heavyweight champion.
So yeah, let's kind of talk about how that first all came together, and then kind of go from there.
So I was doing GWF, right?
Yeah.
And anyways, there's a gentleman, and he's in one of the pictures that we're going to show. Actually, no, he's not in that one. But there's a guy, and he was a referee in the Minnesota area, and also a photographer. He took pictures for like Japanese magazines and stuff. And he's also the cousin of Gary Juster, who's a famous NWA promoter, like local promote. He was the guy that promoted the towns.
Okay, we
for
showed
WCW.
That was the picture we showed a few weeks ago, right? With you and Jerry Lynn?
Yeah.
The guy that was in that picture?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I've already talked about so Bruce Craigman. And anyway, so Lally Yamaguchi was coming through town. And he had his wife wrestled a little bit. And anyways, he came to town, and right at that time, I was still the GWF. I was still the champion. I still had the belt and everything, but they had called and told me they couldn't pay me anymore. I had a guaranteed contract for $300 a week, which was my pay. That was my nightly pay, so I was at least getting one night's pay every week. So they told me they couldn't pay me anymore, and like even though it's like $300, like that still helped pay the bills. So I needed to fucking pay the bills. Somehow I can't remember exactly how it all came together, but Wally happened to be in town and was like, "Hey, you want to come to Japan?" Like real last minute, and I wasn't advertised or anything for this tour. I was just come and have this one match in Corcoran Hall, and shit, my head itches. Anyways, so yeah, I went, and it was $1,000. Whether it was like one show or for the week, I got $1,000, and when you're over there for a week, $1,000, like, I know people go like $1,000 is not, I mean, and at the time it was obviously a lot more than $1,000 is now. But,
sure.
We get like $100 at the beginning, and that was what we had to spend for the
like your per diem.
Yeah. Trying to make that last for a week is just it's almost impossible.
Right.
But yeah. So yeah, I went over there, and I didn't I did high flying stuff. Obviously, you've seen some of the matches I had back then, but I wasn't a lucha guy, Actually, more like the Japanese and even a bit of submission stuff I was still doing. But anyways, they put me in a match with, he was called Gentetsu Sakigake at the time, but people know him now as Dick Togo. And I actually lit him up like I was pretty stiff in there. I was really kind of nervous. I was so nervous I had a wedding band not even take off. Not that that's a big deal, but you know, because a lot of people just do that anyways. But wow, that's Gato actually right there in that picture.
No,
is that.
I think that's
Togo?
That's Dick Togo now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyways, wow. Shit. So yeah, he gave me a great match, and I did like all this stuff. I flew outside the ring a couple different times, and he caught me great. Like, then I gave him a tombstone pile driver through a table.
Oh shit!
Back when no one did that kind of
exactly.
stuff, and it was this little. I don't know if you ever watch wrestling from Japan. They have these little, really narrow tables, and like it was all. I can't believe I ended up pulling it off. But yeah, I gave him that. Broke. You know, put him through the table, got back in, won by count out, which usually is a shitty count out, but they dug it. Just
after a tombstone through a table.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. So they had me stay, and then I worked with him every night on the rest of the tour.
How did you feel, you know, coming in as a young kid, you know, to Japan and not really knowing what to expect? What was that all like? Did you experience any sort of culture shock anything like that?
Oh, my God.
Because I did want to mention some of the things that you did talk about with Fumi was that you talked about sleeping on the floor, the long bus rides, and we want to kind of dive into that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough because, I mean, it was a small company. And, you know, it was respected. You know, people respected it because it had a lot of great talent. You know, because, I mean, you know, Dos Caras was there, Io Del Santo, Blue Demon Jr. I mean, legends, some like the guys you're naming. Actually, Team Heavy Metal over there, you know, Eric Casa, brother of Negro Casas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. But yeah, it was tough, you know, like I was saying, you know, that was the pay I got. And we would stay in, if we had a hotel, it was, you know, it was budget, you know, it was not the nicest hotels. They weren't dirty or anything, but really tiny rooms. And, like the one place we stayed at, like it was near the New Japan Hotel in Shinjuku. We stayed, it was called the B&B Hotel, which stood for bed and breakfast or business and breakfast, something like that. But yeah, but when we would travel outside of Tokyo, and it was all bus rides. Even when we went to Hokkaido, which is an island, you know, where Sapporo is, we drove the bus to Sendai, and then the bus got on a fucking, like
a ferry?
Yeah, a ferry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, like, we went through like a typhoon in that, actually.
Are you serious?
Yes.
What was that like?
It was crazy. The fucking boats up and down, and there's this like bath area in the ferry, and there's like a hot tubs and stuff like that, and the fucking water was spilling all out everywhere.
But they let you guys continue going through that, like even though like they knew like this was gonna happen, you know, weather-wise.
So yeah, it was crazy. I'm skipping around, but that ferry ride was actually where the guys had enough and decided to quit and start Michinoku Pro because they like
it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, the money and like, you know, they were getting kind of fucked. And
well, you said that the Mexican guys were making way less.
Way less. It's insane.
Was it like a dramatic difference or?
Yeah. Or some of them, like, were getting similar to me that should, like, were legends. Like, fucking Dos guys. I mean, I'm sure Dos got a little bit more, but, you know, there's probably guys that are getting $500 a week and trying to make ends meet.
And in those
but they were selling, they brought gimmicks to sell, merch to sell. So that helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought, like, imitation Zubas, like this lady, and she also made my gear. But she made fake Zubas. Like Zubas came from Minneapolis, so there was other people popped up in, you know, Minnesota that made these cheap knockoff Zubas. Zubas were really popular in Japan. They were getting like $100 a fucking pair for them. So I brought these cheap Zubas, and you know, I sold them every night, and I made a few extra bucks, and it helped. Boy, that was a fascinating part of the story. Huh?
Well, I've noticed that you always kind of find ways to make a little extra. Like when you mentioned you were selling Jerry Lynn's hair, and now you have this. So it's pretty interesting to see how you can like make ends meet.
Okay, so what I was getting to was like sometimes when we were going outside Tokyo, for instance, when we would go to down south to this city called Fukuoka and Hakata, which there's this famous venue, it's called Hakata Star Lanes, and then we would go run that place. And the crowd was great there. Loved wrestling there. But when we would go there, it was like a 12-hour bus ride. We'd get there, and we would stay at this place called a Kenko Land. And it was like similar to I don't know if you ever heard of a capsule hotel. A capsule hotel, do you know what that is?
No.
A capsule hotel is like dog kennels. Like, there's some on top of each other. And
like a hostel?
It's like no, it's not even that. It's like you get your own dog kennel. It's big enough for you to fit in and lay down in, and it might have a little TV in there. And
we have a photo up here if you guys want to take a look.
Oh,
there it
okay.
is.
That doesn't look too bad as I pictured it.
It's not, actually.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's, people kind of want their own rooms like when they're on the road. But fuck, we were just so happy to get there after 12 hours on an uncomfortable bus.
Yeah.
So, and they have like food there, and you can get massage, and but that's the capsule hotel. The Kenko Land, everyone sleeps in a fucking big room on the floor on mats.
Oh wow!
So you can hear everyone snoring, and what the fuck, right? So, but I was just happy to get there and be able to lay down somewhere and get in a hot bath, and it felt so nice to get in a hot bath. And,
so what would you say was the biggest challenges? Was it kind of getting used to like traveling like that and, going through these long bus rides and then just not really having too much of your personal space? Or what other challenges did you face?
That and just, some of the guys spoke English, but not everyone. And I was the only American guy. I was the only, So the communication was kind of a little bit of an issue. Not too bad.
Because Jerry Lynn was also there for a couple of tours too.
Time.
So he wasn't there for your first one.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he came over there and we teamed over there. We had really good matches with Gato and Pat Tanaka, which a lot of people don't, probably never heard of those matches, but really good matches with them. Good matches with Gato and Jado. Jerry and I, so it was like, who was it? Fucking me?
Oh, actually, that's the photo that we had up, actually, was you and Jerry Lynn versus Gato and Jado for the Intercontinental Tag Team Championships.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's that picture we had. Well.
And we also worked with, so we do 6-mans a lot. Obviously, the Lucha was a lot of 6-mans, and it would be like Jerry Lynn, myself, and Dr. Wagner versus Tejano, Silver King, and Dos Caras.
Yeah, I actually got to see that one.
Did you see when fucking Silver King busted my eardrum right in the beginning? He fucking smacked me in there. My eardrum's still fucked up from that.
Really?
Jesus.
Yeah, because I was able to see that. One of the things that I noticed for that one was you did a lot of mat wrestling for that match. So it was, very different from what we were seeing you do in GWF around roughly the same time.
So when you have communication issues, that's what you do. That's why you have to know how to wrestle too. That's why you have to know how to do, that kind of stuff. So you can go out there, and even if you can't talk to someone, you can go out there and have a little bit of a match with them,
Yeah.
And, you can never go wrong with a little bit of wrestling in there.
And then you mentioned that, Jerry Lynn was coming on with you during the second tour. Did it make a world of a difference for you to have somebody that you're more familiar with and, is sort of, along the same lines with you, language barriers and all of that?
Yeah, it helped because obviously we were extremely close. And that, so yeah, it helped a lot.
And had you wrestled any of those guys prior in any other places? Like this was all first times. Who were some of the people you were immediately impressed by? Anybody that you were kind of like, oh, this guy is going to be like something?
You kind of knew that about like a lot of those guys. I mean, you saw
They kind of had reputations already.
Yeah, like Sasuke started doing that gimmick, eventually, and so you could kind of tell, okay, he's gonna be a big star. Like Delphin, yeah, like because those guys started doing those gimmicks after I had gotten there. They went from, Monkey Magic Wakita to Super Delphin. I knew heavy metal was gonna be a big star because just he had this thing about him, like this weird aura, this vibe. Like he was very, very enigmatic. Like they talk about Jeff Hardy, like that. Like he had that similar type of a thing.
I see.
Now,
quiet.
You mentioned on our last show that when you were studying tapes, from Japan as well, but that some of the guys did give you sort of like feedback and things that you were doing wrong or maybe not doing the way it was supposed to be. Did you get any of that while you were in Japan? How did that all work out?
I mean, a little bit, but still, like I still kept doing the spinning backbreaker wrong. Like when I would take it, like I wouldn't fucking feed for it right, and so it would make my opponent look stupid, So, but yeah, no, I learned some things. I learned how to do like a head spring, and just different, like some of the Mexican routines, like just the stuff that those guys do on a routine basis, and just I don't know, it was just cool. It was a great experience being able to train because they all trained before the shows. So what's the ring got? Everyone was not every single person, but. Most everyone was in the ring, warming up and doing a little bit of training, and so
was there any big differences
cool
that you noticed? That any big differences in terms of how they were preparing for their matches versus what you were used to seeing in the States, and then also with the crowds? Were there any major differences?
I think the major difference is that they were actually doing that at all.
Yeah, because guys in the States weren't really doing that before shows.
Nope, not at all. So yeah, it was just. I mean, it was taken way more serious. Like here in the States, a lot of it is you're on shows with guys that just do it on the weekends and they're not like, full-time. Like this was a bunch of fucking real pro wrestlers. And, guys that have been, like I said, they're legends,
Right. And you did several tours. Were you ever kind of like hesitant, like, oh, maybe I don't want to go back because of it's so different? Or were you always like, yes, I'm ready for it?
No, I couldn't wait to go back. Yeah, I couldn't wait to go back. Yeah, I was just loved it.
That's awesome.
I know it was tough. And so, once Fumi came around and I started spending time with Fumi when I was over there, like it changed everything. Like it made it, made everything just I just felt so much more comfortable over there.
Was it more because you had maybe someone giving you guidance?
Yeah.
Developing a closer relationship with somebody.
He knew Japanese wrestling better than anybody. Because he was like one of the top guys at Baseball Magazine. So, yeah.
Well, you guys talked about your bonds together on the podcast and, spending holidays together and stuff like that. So obviously it was a relationship that was formed earlier on and, lasted.
Yeah. Hey, so, going back, talking about Asai, my first show there was his last. So it wasn't like I was on a bunch of shows with Ultimo Dragon. He was finishing up that night and going to SWS. Actually, Great Kabuki was there with him, actually. Oh. Great Kabuki was I think,
he was like
an office guy a little bit, too, for Tenru.
Awesome. Did you want to add anything else, or do you want to go ahead and jump into the top of the Super Juniors?
Yeah, no, we can just talk about how, and I was talking about that ferry ride when everyone...
The typhoon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because business wasn't great, and I think there was some money owed to maybe some, sometimes questionable people invest in wrestling, whether it be in Japan or Mexico.
Like people that have no wrestling backgrounds.
No, I'm talking about maybe a little bit from... the underworld or...
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Not saying that's exactly what was going on, but I suspect it. And, there was, money issues, and Jerry Lynn ended up not getting paid for his last show there.
Oh, geez.
I wouldn't leave. Yeah, I wouldn't leave until I got my money. Like, I was like, no, you're not sending it. Like, you're not fucking. I'm not going home. I won't get it.
Yeah.
What did he do? Was it just kind of like
you never got it?
You live and you learn.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So my last tour there, I separated my shoulder and I fucked up, and then I just never went back until New Japan.
Right. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about that. New Japan Top of the Super Juniors 1993 from May 26th to June 14th of 1993. And this was obviously prior to it being called the Best of the Super Juniors and before the J-Cup. It was an 11-man tournament, round robin, and then the last 4 guys did a tournament with Pegasus Kid, Chris Benoit ending up winning that year. Yep. But there is a lot of notable names in this tournament, that's for sure. Some including Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Jushin, Fit Finlay, Al Samurai, yourself. So let's kind of go ahead and talk into how the opportunity came about and all of that from the beginning.
Okay. So at some point around that time, Road Warrior Hawk quit WWF and decided to go work in New Japan. And so it was decided that Hawk and Kensuke Sasaki were going to become a team, and they ended up being called the Hellraisers. It was a really fucking popular team there, too. Like, it wasn't just, let's throw these guys together, and it was kind of half-assed. Like, no, they were over like a motherfucker. So anyways, weirdly enough, like, there's this little bar, like this, it was, 300-400 people. Max, like, cram them in there, like the place that we like that bar that you saw that Jerry Lynn and I have that match.
Yeah.
That place. That's where the Japanese flew all the way over here, like, because Brad Rangan's, I was talking about Brad a little bit before. He was New Japan's guy over there. He trained all those guys, like Nakanishi, guys like that. Like, anyways, and even Brock. Yeah. Anyways, a lot of guys New Japan would send to, Vader went to Brad's. So that, for some, I guess that's why they decided to debut Hawk and Kensuke at this little bar, weirdly enough. And so I was the guy that was making the matches at the time, kind of like the booker of the shows. And so Jerry Lynn and I, we were the tag team champions of the PWA. And so I had, and they said, okay, Masa Saito's coming, so him, he'll be on the show. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. So I booked it, Jerry Lynn and I versus Masa Saito and Brad Rangans. Oh, wow. And so we had a really good match. Yeah. And then after that, Masa brought me to Japan for Top Super Junior.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Basically, that's,
and this was
that's the short version of that story.
And I know we talked about that in terms of you were already signed with WWE. So
I wasn't
not yet because remember you had that break in between.
Yeah. After I got this
got the phone call. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't, if you can remind me, because you had told WWE, like, hey, I have this coming up, and were they perfectly fine with that? How did
totally.
Okay.
Totally. And also at the time I was promoting the show that I talked about recently, what we called NWA Grand Slam, and it was Terry Funk and Hawk in the main event. It was myself and Sabu, Taz versus Brad Rangans, Saito and Charlie Norris versus Nails and The Hater, Chris Candido versus Jerry Lynn, Tommy Ferrara versus Lethal Larry Cameron. Anyways, it was a great show. And so we were promoting that at the same time.
Were you treated differently?
By
New Japan now that, you had this relationship with WWE?
No.
Like, in comparison, to your first time, with people and how they interact with you and stuff like that.
I didn't know because I had never worked with New Japan at that point.
Right. No, but I'm saying, like, in general, though.
It was hard to tell.
Okay.
Maybe. I just don't know.
Okay.
So, yeah. But, yeah. That's how that happened. And, yeah, so.
And
that was cool that Vince let me go over there and fulfill that commitment.
And you were able to work with Eddie Guerrero, one of those guys that at this point he was already killing it. He had already been wrestling in AAA and CMLL.
Yeah.
What was it like working with him during this time period?
Well, so that was a little bit into the tour. Like that was, I don't know. That was a couple weeks into the tour actually when I worked with him. My first, I was so blessed, and I'm really honored to even, like, I've been in the ring with this guy, but my very first match of the tournament was with Finley, and it was I couldn't even believe it. Like, just, and when I say I couldn't believe it, it was once I got in there with him, like to feel how great he was in there. Like, you just don't realize how great someone is. Like, you can have a perspective on how great someone is from a viewer standpoint, but on top of it, just to, like, holy fuck, man, that guy was on a whole nother level of great. And he made me look amazing, and he put me over. And it was in a place called Omiya at the Omiya Skate Center.
I actually have a tweet from you that you tweeted, David Finley. You said, I was in the next one with your dad, and my first match in New Japan was with your father carrying me to a brilliant match in Omiya.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fucking great. I talked about, Nishimura I had a match with. It was okay. He was really new still, and I potatoed the fuck out of him, and he wasn't happy, and I understood. Like, I was sorry, man.
Right.
Like, I hit him really hard with a clothesline. But the guy that I really had a really good one with, it wasn't like match of the year type thing or anything, but we just went out there and worked and wrestled back and forth. And even like the stuff we did, like that you would think we would have called in the back was shit that we called on the fly. It was with Shinjiro Otani. It was really good. That match is out there somewhere. But yeah, no, Eddie was just, it was so good. So good.
Did
we
you learn
really had a
anything
good
from
chemistry.
him?
I had to do the spinning backbreaker.
Right.
How to take it better.
Nice.
Yeah. And no, it wasn't like wasn't that type of situation yet. I mean, we just had one match, and so like he did more than his part in there. Like, that part was great. I can't really say, I learned a lot from him out there or anything, but he just did more than his part out there to make me look
Did it feel different being in a ring with a guy like him?
Yeah, for sure.
You feel the difference, obviously.
Yeah, there was just a thing that, like, and it was from the first time I ever worked with him there in Japan, like, and even, later on when I worked with him, there was just what I was talking about with Finley just a little bit ago, same type of situation when you actually feel a guy out there when you lock up with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And what I've always found so fascinating about, like, round robin tournaments is that, you have to wrestle everyone at some point, and so you're getting ready for all these different kind of styles and different sort of chemistries. What's it like, kind of like going like, okay, having to prepare for Pegasus Kid versus having to prepare for someone like El Samurai or something like that?
I don't remember. I just remember going out there and, having the matches and and hey, the thing, at night we go out, we get drunk, and there's a couple of funny stories. Oh, don't start with me, Lou. Lou's over here. Yeah, where was I?
Going out with the guys after the shows.
Okay, so there was a lot of that, and somebody ripped the fuck out of me too. They put like sardines or something in my bag, and
Jesus.
And no one still to this day would ever tell me who did it.
I was actually going to ask you about that because you tweeted it.
Stunk. Everything stunk.
The rest of the tour.
Yeah, everything. My gear, everything fucking stunk. I couldn't get it out. Couldn't get the smell out. Yeah, it was brutal. Brutal.
Now, one of the things that I do have to ask you about, because you tweeted this twice a year apart, was when you said, first one we had was from 2016, where you said, Liger at New Japan, top of the Super Juniors tourney, I shit the bed, nervous. And then again in 2017, when I wrestled Liger in New Japan, I shit the bed twice. So what happened there?
I just there's this dive that Silver King made famous out of the corner, and you kind of like a vaulting fucking tope, whatever the fuck. So I went to do that on him, and I slipped, and he's just standing there waiting for me.
Oh,
and
no.
He ends up having to give me the fucking polite applause as a rib. I was nervous as fuck, and a lot of people were they had their eyes on that match too, the press.
Right.
And I fucking just shit the bed for everyone. And so when I teamed with Liger, I actually brought that up, and he was really cool about it.
At the last year's,
at the high spots.
Yeah.
At that wrestling when me and Hurricane and. All right. Yeah. So I don't know what Lou. So I brought her out there. I brought Lou out there, and then she didn't even do anything. She's I don't know. So she's outside. So if you hear something scratching at the door, that's Lou. Oh well. All right, where were we?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and kind of go back into. We were talking about you basically shitting the bed.
Shitting the bed.
And you talking with Liger about this at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And WrestleMania weekend. Excuse me.
Because I had it all in my head, all these great things I was gonna do in my match with Liger, and then just fucking.
What was it? You think? Just nerves. Nerves got the best.
Yeah.
So when you told him this, at the WrestleCon show, what did he say to you exactly?
It was just it was. Sumi Sakai was doing the you know who she is?
Yeah. I've heard the name. Yeah, for sure.
She's Japanese female wrestler, and she works in ROH sometimes, and she was in Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. Anyways, yeah, she was there, and she was translating, and. He was really cool. Just as oh no, it was perfect. It was just very gracious about it.
Right.
What are you gonna do?
You were trying to make up for it after all these years.
And then went out there and had another shitty match.
I don't think it was as bad as you felt that it was.
Nah.
But how did you feel wrestling him? In his prime.
Like I said.
Aside from the fact.
That's it. I was just That's all. That's my only memory of it. Was fucking it up. There was at this place called Trial Amenity Hall. It was this outdoor venue, which I hate working outdoors anyways.
Yeah.
And it was kind of dreary, kind of rainy, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. I hate wrestling outdoors.
It's the worst.
Is it because of the heat, or what is it
Well,
exactly?
there's all different kind of things. Just whatever the elements. You're a fucking slave to whatever the... I mean, that's a bad word to use, slave.
No, but I get what you mean. For
What I mean?
Yeah.
Some people are gonna be, that's JW. You can say slave. Yeah, whatever. Fuck. Anyways, why did I even say that? Yeah. Just the energy, just goes up into the fucking, up into the sky.
The acoustics are terrible.
Yeah. It's kind of like the outdoor stadium, when you can't really hear the reactions.
Right.
So, yeah, just not a fan.
Yeah.
Were there any differences in working the Lucha Style at UWF and then the New Japan Junior Style?
Oh, big time.
What was those?
Yeah, it's just it's a totally different style. I even I don't know, were there? I mean, the closest I had to doing that style was with Eddie, and he even still was working more Japanese style. Mm-hmm. When the Mexican guys, when the Lucha guys go to Japan, they adjust. They don't do traditional Lucha.
Well, and
even back then,
especially because Eddie was playing Black Tiger at the time, right?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay, yeah.
No. So, yeah. But it's so much different. Yeah, and I actually was more. It was easier for me because I was trained more along those lines. Mm-hmm. I had similar training to how they train the New Japan guys.
Sure.
So, yeah. Remember El Samurai kind of had a little bit of a lucha feel to him. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. Man, and I had a match. I talked about this, but Too Cold Scorpio busted his ankle and like worked the whole fucking tour with a broken ankle.
Jesus.
Yeah, and my match with him, broken ankle and or leg, anyways, something like that. You know, a break down there at the bottom of the.
And especially for someone who works the style that Scorpio worked, like that seems like it would be.
And so, like, I've talked about this not that long ago, actually. It's kind of comical for Scorpio to even be in the junior tournament because he's like 250 fucking pounds.
Right.
You know, he did high flying stuff. He's like 250. He's not even close to a fucking junior heavyweight.
Right.
And he might look like it from the waist up, but man, his ass and legs is like 200 pounds alone. Fucking hell.
So my last question for you is, when you were in WCW, did you ever want to do another Super Junior tournament given the relationship that they had with New Japan?
Did
that ever cross? So did you ever want to do another Super Junior tournament when you were in WCW, given that they had that relationship? Did you want to?
No.
No, never. No, okay.
No, because I'd moved on from that style.
Okay.
I mean, I still did it a little bit with certain guys if I was working with,
Sure.
certain guy, I don't know, I had met, like, we'll work with Hoovy or Hector Garza or somebody like that, but I was pretty, I was, I fancied myself a heavyweight by then.
Right.
I actually packed on a bit of weight, like trying to, have people look at me as a heavyweight.
Yeah.
And that, but, I did go and do this junior tournament while I was working for Vince for WAR.
Was that I think it was 07, was it? Or no?
No, it was in 90, it was in 94, I think.
Oh, okay, I was way off. Okay.
Yeah, it was, I worked with Negro, I beat Negro Casas in the first round, and in the second round I lost to Gato.
Okay.
And Jericho was on it. Who the fuck else? Jericho, I think he won it, actually. Like, I had post-concussion syndrome at the time, and like I was fucked up after my match with Gato. Like I just remember waking up in the hallway with Haku standing over me, and like Jericho's here, different guys, and Haku's like smacking me in the face, trying to keep me awake so I didn't pass out. Because Vince almost didn't let me go to that WAR junior term. I'm jumping around all over the fucking place here, but because of my concussions.
Oh wow.
He was concerned for my health.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of concussions in '94. So.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, what else were we?
All right, that was pretty much what I had. That's what I had here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to add anything, something you think the fans should know, the cool story you might want to share, or anything else that I might have not brushed on.
No, I just, Hawk came over for the end of that tour because they had a big Budokan show, and like him and Kensuke worked with Jurassic Powers, they were called, I think. It was like fucking Earthquake and oh fuck, I don't remember. Whatever. So, and Tony Halm, who was Ludwig Borga.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting. But he got along good with Tony, but he was fucking, like there's no way anybody would even employ him.
Right.
Today.
Right.
With the way, his ideals and beliefs. But Bobby Eaton.
Beautiful Bobby
came over, and he was there as a heavyweight, as a singles guy. And he had great matches. People don't think of him as a singles guy, but like, man, he was fine either way.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent matches. Let's see. I think that's it. I had a couple of stories, but yeah, I'm not going to tell
We can get in those.
Nah.
Now you're just going to leave us all with curiosity.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell one. It was we went out drinking one night and fucking. I think somebody found like a wallet or something, and there was like $300. Anyway, I think it was. Anyway, somebody paid for the drinks all night. And it was a hostess bar, but like some of the hostess were transgender, and I just remember that being the case.
Sure.
And anyways, there was some big interaction with them. We were all fucking drunk and we're laughing, and Finley's there, like Dean, Benoit, and we're all drunk as fuck, and like one of the transgender ladies like fucking falls out like this, falls into this bush, and a fucking big giant rat comes out and starts running around in a circle around the lady. And anyways, I just remember that like fucking sticking out in my head.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my God. But did she like get out of the bush fast?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say because that's kind of dangerous. You know, that's terrible.
It was so funny actually.
Did anybody think like, hey, let's help her up? There's a rat there.
No,
That's
I
so
think she was
sad.
trying to kick one of us or something. I don't know.
Oh man.
Anyways, yeah. All right. I guess that's about it.
That's
All
awesome.
right,
It
that
sounds
is
like
okay.
That didn't mean like we're done. Boy, Jeff's in a big hurry to get out of here every week.
So, like, do you think that the stuff like the Super Juniors at the time with mixing American style, Lucha style, Japanese style, do you think it was kind of ahead of its time as far as, because I feel like we're seeing a lot of that today, you know?
Yeah. I it's all kind of mixed together these days.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
yeah.
if you go to Mexico, like, there's not a ton. I mean, there's still the guys. Some of the guys are still doing it traditional, but a lot of those guys in Mexico are working a hybrid style now.
Right.
You know, everyone's kind of. Yeah, it's kind of like similar to MMA in the early days of, you know, it was called No Holds Barred back then.
Right.
But you know, it wasn't. Now everybody trains in everything, right?
Exactly. But yeah, the whole draw of UFC was like, what if a karate guy faced a taekwondo guy or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Yep, the grappler versus the striker.
Yeah.
Now everyone's a grappler and a striker.
Right, exactly.
You know? So, yeah. But it's been interesting and it's been fascinating to see how it's all kind of come together, and, you know, how the styles have meshed, and
Yeah.
yeah. So it's and I look forward to seeing it continue to evolve, because it is. I mean, even in the last few years, you know, I see things change and trends, change of like what, you know, what's popular to do in there, and like just guys are trying new things all the time, and we're able to see those things because of like fucking, you know, the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're in a good spot right now for sure, yeah.
So, I don't know, wonder what we're going to do next week. Any ideas?
Well, I've been wanting to talk about your time in Mexico too. Maybe we can talk about that. I don't know. We can brainstorm after the show.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Or we talked about how, you know, the style that you were working in the WCW Cruiserweight division, you know, stuff like that too.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I hope everyone enjoyed it. You know, at least the ones that, because these shows, like when I start talking about something like this, it kind of narrows it down to people that are just interested in that particular subject, and that's fine. Oh shit, I just spit everywhere. And that's fine. Like, you know, you might get a few less views or you know, or listens, but it's cool. I enjoy talking about these, you know, these subjects.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, and I do recommend people to listen to the podcast that you did with Fumi, because it was really good, and it gave, you know, obviously he has all the knowledge, so, you know, it really tied in really nicely together, I think.
Yeah.
And it was cool just because, you know, you get to hear me reminiscing with a dear friend of mine. And that's always fun. So, all right, everyone.
Cool.
See you right here next week. Now we're ready, Jeff. All right.
From Executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Sean Waltman, and the entire X-Pac 12360 staff. Thank you for tuning in to X-Pac 12360.